Guys, I apologize. This video is, you'll get the gist of it. I point out where all the screws and stuff are at. You got to take the lid off first, and then you take the front face where the digital display and stuff is. I show you how to get to all that. I show you where the pump is in the bottom left corner. There's a little hose on the bottom left where you got to use to drain all the water out of the washer. And then the hardest part of this whole job was that rubber ring that goes when you open your washer door, and you got that rubber ring around the outside where a bunch of gunk and stuff gets. There's a actual like a metal cable that goes around that, or a piece of a bar that goes around that with a spring tension on the bottom. You got to stretch that back on. Here's the video. It's been a long day. Alright, the pump's out. There's the old one. Here's the new one. It's got 3 10mm studs that hold this on. I'm going to get to the part where I show you how to pull everything together, or pull everything apart. But here, you got to make sure it's timed right. So I took a picture of this before I even pulled it off. This edge right here, I knew was closest to this. And then there's a bunch of Phillips screws where you just disassemble everything, and then basically there's an O-ring right there that you got to push past as it goes through in this housing. And I went ahead and scrubbed it all down and washed all the piping and stuff off. Mounted the new pump, and it's ready to start going back together actually. So I'll go ahead and do all that. There's the new pump. You can see the propeller in there, and then there's that filter I was telling you about. It plugs up, and then the screen goes past this pump vane right here, and when that screen inside there is plugged up, it won't let water get sucked out of here. That wasn't the case. This motor is actually just bad. It's just a bad motor. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start installing everything, and I'll give you a quick rundown on how it all came apart. The door. Take those 2 screws out of the latch. Eventually you're going to have to get to a spot where there's 1, 2, 3 on this side. 1, 2, 3 on this side. Down there in the bottom, there's a screw that's got to come out. To take the top of the washer off. On the back side of the washer, you just pull out 1 screw. There's a screw that goes there. This is the lid. This is the part that goes on top. And you pull the screw out right there, and this whole thing slides back and then comes right off. That's when you'll have access to this panel here, and these wires fish right through that hole. Unconnect them from the inside here. You can see there's a little screw right there on that corner. There's a screw right there, and a screw right there. And then basically you just grab the top right here, these little white tabs, and you pull up, it unsnaps. This whole thing comes right out of there. But before you do that, you gotta get this drawer out. This is one of the first things you should do. And how you get the drawer out is pull it all the way out. That's your soap and bleach drawer. Pull it all the way out, push this down, and it unlocks this back tab, and then you can slide the whole drawer out and then start your work. Then you can get the door off, the top of the lid off, the front display off. Make sure, again, the screws for a lock, and then once you do that, this basically just slides right forward and comes right out of there. And then the pump sits right down here in the corner. It sits down here in the corner. You got to pull 3 of these 10mm studs out. Where's the other one at? Oh, the other one's on the counter. But anyway, you got to pull 3 of these 10mm out. Unhook your positive and negative wire. Slide the pump right out and do what I showed you over there on the sink. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and put everything together. And the next time I'll be back on here is when I show you it working. Now you have to pull this rubber ring off when you go to pull this door off of here. This rubber ring has got to come off in order to slide the door off. But then when you go to put everything back on, you got to stretch this band back around it where you take it off. This little spring here sits on the bottom in the middle of the door down there. It's running. I'm gonna let it run through its cycle and see what it does. It's trying to sense load right now. It's draining. So we're good. It worked. That was the fix. It's draining good now. Real good.